It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing when you let your nuts hang.
Put a finger down if your mother is a meth addict and you get back together with your husband, but you don't really tell anybody for a while because you don't know how it's going to go. It wasn't great when you were married, so you're just not sure how it's going to go. But you get on the phone with your mom and you finally tell your mom, I'm back together with my husband. It's actually been going really well, surprisingly. Well, he's my ex-husband now. And she tells you, I wish you wouldn't have got back with him. And I'm like, why? And I'm like, I know, he was awful. That's why. No. Put a finger down if your mom was sleeping with your husband when you guys weren't together. All right, so story time about how my mom and my ex-husband now slept together over and over. I'll also show a few more pictures. This is like a complex situation, so I'll get through it as quickly as I can, but there's a lot to this. So this was my husband. Yes, my eyebrows are crazy thin. Here's another picture from our wedding. Now, my mom wasn't always looking the way she does, obviously, in her mugshot. She was actually quite beautiful, so let me show you a picture before the drugs overtook her. That was my mom.
6.
This is my mom and my husband around the time that they
She a big
met.
6. A double
And
6.
This is my mom when my husband and her, I think, started sleeping together. I'll never know the exact timeline of when all this happened. I know approximately when it happened, but my mom didn't want to go into details, and my ex-husband just downplays everything. So when she says that they've been together over and over and over, well over a dozen times, he says it was just twice. And you probably think I'm crazy to believe a meth addict over him, but this man is a pathological liar. I won't go into all the lies.
Meth addict happens to be your mom.
I do plan to make more videos about some of the other lies because it is amazing how someone can manipulate someone for so long and get them to believe the most insane things. Keep in mind, I met him when I was 19.
Hey, take a second, hit that like button, and hit the subscribe if you haven't already done that.
So really impressionable, really young. We got married when I was 20. I couldn't even drink alcohol legally. So obviously a huge mistake. But he convinced me he was a virgin when we married. I was a virgin, for sure. Became very apparent to me that he was not a virgin, but I believed it and went with it. And then about 6 months into our marriage, one of the big lies broke open. I took my wedding ring to get cleaned, and the jeweler was being really kind, but he basically was like, I'm not sure why you want us to clean a piece of glass. And this was really crazy because I was with my grandma, and I literally I was at a mall, and so I went into just like the common area, and I called my husband immediately, and I was like, oh my God, you got scammed. Like, I was so dumb. He didn't get scammed. He bought a fake ring. It took me some time, but I finally came around, had the ring tested over and over, and it was definitely not diamond. Now, I just want to clarify. So this is was really upsetting to me because we had picked out. He always took me to the most expensive places. That was his thing. He just like slung money around as if he had a bunch. He didn't. He was broke, but I didn't know that. It appeared as though he had a lot of money. And I'm coming from like a broken situation in terms of like how I was raised, and so I'm looking for some security. So the ring was upsetting because he took me to Tiffany's. I picked out this little tiny yellow diamond ring with little tiny white diamonds around it. And it was like around $1,300, which was very affordable for us at that time. And then for fun, we tried on some like bigger, like dream rings. And so we tried on like a 2-carat, really clear, nice cushion cut diamond. So when he gave me the wedding ring, when he surprised me with it, it was the 2-carat diamond ring, and I was really upset. I actually handed it back to him and asked him to return it because I knew it was a $60,000 ring. That's what they told us when we were there, and I have no interest in sinking that kind of money into a wedding ring, especially when there was just so many other things we could have done with that money. And so I just begged him to take it back, and he's like, no, it's a done deal. And instead of just telling me it didn't cost that much, like, that's not what it is, it's not actually real, he let me believe that I was carrying around this $60,000 ring, showing it off to people. One day I dropped it in the parking lot, and I had like an actual panic attack because I thought I just like ruined our lives, because that type of money is just insane to me. So anyways, really annoying that he did that. And when I finally found out it was fake, he still tried to deny it over and over. It was just a bad thing. And that's what started opening my eye up to things that are probably not true. So if you recognize him, if you were with him at some point, please reach out to me, because there were rumors going around that he was engaged when I met him. And I was young, I was 19. It's not an excuse, but when I asked him, he said, no, we're not engaged. We had been engaged for 6 years, but it didn't work out. She kept pressuring me for sex, and I didn't want to go through with it. Give me a freaking break. I feel so stupid for believing that, obviously. Hindsight's 2020. And so one day we're at lunch, we're working together. He's my boss. I mean, not technically my boss, but he definitely has more seniority than me. I'm a kid, basically, right? So we go to lunch one day, and we run into his ex-fiance, and it was crazy awkward, and I just didn't think it should be, because I thought they had moved on from each other. He said they never lived together. I don't believe that now, but he claims they never lived together. And when I met her, she was just really upset, and so I just stepped away and let them have their space. But oh my god, if I could have been a fly on that wall, maybe I would have like woken up to what I was dealing with here with him. There's also another huge lie that came out in all of this. I believe now that none of his family knows that we were married. None of them came to the wedding. And I tried to send them invitations, and he would not let me send them. He said, oh, I'll take care of that for you. Just give me the invitations. I found them in his car like months later after we had already been married. So I knew he never sent them. And so when I confronted him about why he didn't send the invitations, he said that his family didn't want him to marry me, that I was basically beneath them. His family was ultra wealthy. His dad, like, I guess supposedly did like AstroTurf for like the NFL or something. And so he claims that I was sort of beneath what his family wanted for him. And next thing I know, I get these weird emails from his dad. I still have these emails, and this was at a time when I didn't know like how easy it was for people to just make fake email accounts. It was like their first dot last name at gmail.com. And I believed it. I actually corresponded with his dad. I now believe those messages were from him. But they were vile. They were the most vile messages I've ever received. His dad supposedly hit on me in these messages, which is, again, hindsight's 2020. I was a kid. Give me some grace. But yeah, those didn't come from his dad. And recently, when I was with him, one of his sisters called. He has, I believe, 3 sisters. And unfortunately, I can't contact any of them because I know their first names. I don't even know if I really know their first names. They're probably fake. I don't know their last names. I think they're all married. But anyways, he was on the phone with one of his sisters, and I said, oh, tell your sister I said hi. And I could hear her say to him, who is that? And he said, oh, it's just a girl. And she's like, it better not be that ex-girlfriend of yours. And she goes, the redhead with the big boobs. So ex-girlfriend, right? She never knew that we were married. Anyways, back to the main story that you guys are interested in. I just kind of wanted to set the scene for some of the lies, so you can understand. At least we know one person didn't like you. Kind of how this developed. So we tried to make it work for many years. He actually filed for separation from me for a crazy reason. I'll do a video on that sometime. And I told him, if you separate from me as your wife, he wanted to be separated legally, but he wanted to still be married and live together. And it's because he wanted to have our finances totally separate. And so I told him, if you separate from me, I will divorce you. And that's what I did. However, we haven't been able to break up fully, right? Like, we just keep getting back together. We had a long spell of time where we weren't together. That's not when he was with my mom. I really don't know. I just know that when they were together, him and I were also together.
The motive's
Now, I've
right.
dated other people in the meantime, like when we've been fully separated. I've never cheated on anyone ever in my life. But this man has claimed until these lies came out, he had still claimed that he had only ever had sex with me. No one but me in all of these years, right? Like, even up until a year ago, he was still saying that I was the only woman he had ever been with. So you're probably wondering, like, what it was, like, why all this happened. I am definitely sapiosexual. I don't know if you know what that means, but
No
I'm a
idea.
person who is attracted to intelligence over anything else. And I don't know why I'm that way, and this individual is literally the most book smart, intelligent person I've ever met. And I've dated a surgeon and a scientist and a professor, people like that, right? That's like kind of my type, which clearly I need to change up. But that's always kind of like what intrigues me. And there literally isn't a subject that I could talk to this man about that he wouldn't know just everything. He has like a photographic memory. Whatever he reads, he fully retains. And he went to medical school. He went to law school. Again, this is what he told me, so who really knows? But I just believe it based on his wealth of knowledge, and that's sort of what kept sucking me in, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. I also believe that he is on the spectrum. He has always been against any type of therapy. In fact, that's what finally broke us up, is I literally told him, if we're going to work through this, we have to have therapy. Like, I need help. I cannot be our therapist for this, because I am definitely more emotionally intelligent than he is. Anyways,
Girl,
I just
can we get to
truly
you
believe he's
your
on
mama
the spectrum
cheating on you?
somewhere. I think that all that intelligence he has come with a cost. Okay, so back to the story. We were on a break, and it's a little bit complex, but he lives in my hometown. That's where his job is, and that's also where my mom lives. I had moved to another town, which is a few hours away, with my grandparents, because my grandma got breast cancer, and we needed to get closer to medical facilities. So what had happened is I ended up getting a new place of my own, and I invited him and my mom to come over to see my new place. And my mom, obviously, she had started with the meth, and so she couldn't drive. She actually totaled her car and had a DUI. That's one of those mugshots, unfortunately. And so he offered to bring her over to visit. Now, I knew he was spending some time with her, but it did not seem like it was nefarious in any way. He would go over and like drop food off for her. He would, like, if she had a yard sale, he would go and like purchase things. He basically was claiming that he was just trying to help her out because she was in a bad situation, and he was working desperately to get back with me. And so he thought if he helped my mom that I would be more interested in getting back together. And it did. It made me more interested. I thought it was really loving and caring of him to do that. So they come over to my house, and right away I just noticed like really weird energy. It feels like my mom is jealous of my interaction with him, which is really strange. And him and I weren't together at this time, and so I just thought it was really bizarre. She just kept causing problems, and she's like always trying to one-up me, and she kept fighting with him. It was just really uncomfortable. And so they ended up staying the night, and it's awful because I was like really burned out just dealing with my mom. If you've been around someone that deals with those types of drugs, they're exhausting. And so I told them that like I was going to bed. He followed me to my bedroom, and he, like, as he's shutting my door, he's like, "Don't worry, I'll take care of your mom." What that really meant was he took her into my bathroom, and they did it on my bathroom floor.
Damn.
Now, of course, I didn't know what was going on. They ended up leaving the next day, And then him and I, we basically started our relationship back up, and he ended up moving in with me. We were together for a few months. Things went really well for a while. He ends up having to go back to my hometown for work. We're still together. Things are a little strained, but we're still together. And one day I am speaking with my mom on the phone, and I hadn't told her yet that we were back together. But I felt like it was time. People were starting to find out because it had been several months, and it had been several good months, to be totally honest. And so I was on the phone with my mom, and I was telling her that we were back together, and she's like, "Are you sleeping with him?" And I was like, "Yes, like we're back together." And she said, "Oh no, I just wish you wouldn't have done that." And I was like, "Why?" She's like, "You don't know who he is." And I was like, "Well, sure I do." She goes, "No, you have no idea who he is. I have been sleeping with him." Sorry. Sorry, I'm trying so hard to not be one of those people that cry on the internet. And my dog gets really upset when I get upset. So I'll collect myself and we'll get back to it. Okay, so she just tells me, and we get off the phone. She does not tell him that she's told me. And those moments when time stands still, this was one of those moments for me. My heart just took off like a rocket. It was beating so hard. I had to sit down. I felt just like a wave of just emotion just rush over me. It was just like all of these fears I had had for so long came true, but in the worst way possible. I never imagined that it would be with my mother. I just felt in my heart that he had definitely been with other people. I just did not think it would be my mom. So my grandma was actually on her way over, like while I was on the phone with my mom, and so she came into my house, and I was sitting on the couch, and I told her, like, "Sit down, I have something to tell you." And I told her, and it was just, again, it was a very intense moment for both of us. We were both very, very upset. My grandpa did not like my husband. He, I think, saw through a lot of things, and my grandma had always defended my husband to him, and so she felt bad for having done that, and it was a really hard thing for us to process. And then of course, like, the other element of this is that's my mom. How could my mom do that? It was really, really hard to hear it that day. I did not confront him right away. I took some time. I took a couple weeks actually. He was in another town, so it was just easy for us not to communicate a lot, and I didn't tell him, and we just ended up just being really casual for that time. He could sense that things were strained between us, and so we decided that we were gonna meet up and try to do something fun. So he rented an Airbnb, a bed and breakfast, and it was in a town that was in between us. And I was basically thinking, okay, that's where I will confront him. I knew I was going to record it because I have such a history of this person lying, and getting him to admit a lie is like pulling teeth. I'm not exaggerating. He just will look for any excuse to not look like a liar. He does not accept that he is a liar. I don't think he believes it. So I set up this basically date with him at this bed and breakfast so that I could get the information out of him that I wanted and try to get this all behind me. My husband was a pathological liar, and he gave me a fake ring, and here's how I found out. We had gone to Tiffany's and I picked out a really modest ring. It was a little yellow diamond in the center, and it had like 2 or maybe 3 rows of really small, tiny diamonds around it, and then it was a gold band. I'll show you a picture of kind of what it looked like. I couldn't find the exact ring, but we went to Tiffany's and I picked out something similar to this. It was a yellow diamond, much smaller than this one, and then it had a row of white diamonds around it, maybe 2 rows of white diamonds around it, and then it was like a solid gold band. It was very pretty, and like I said, it was under $2,000. It was affordable for us at the time, and I would have been insanely happy with that ring, like truly. Like, again, Tiffany's, someday I'm gonna come and buy this ring from you, someday. Anyway, back to the story. So I went to get my ring. When we got engaged, he surprised me with one of like the big rings that we had tried on just for fun. It was little over 2 carat, really clear, large diamond, just a solitaire on a, I guess it was platinum band, which I'm a gold girl, but he chose platinum for whatever reason. Doesn't matter. The whole thing was fake. It was actually less expensive than the ring that I had picked out because it was a bunch of junk. Let me show you that ring. Here's a picture of it at our wedding. I don't have a ton of pictures of it because as soon as he realized I knew it was fake, he got rid of it really quickly. But that's a picture of it there from our wedding. The photographer took it around to different places to photograph it. I'll show you one more. Here's kind of a side shot of it with his band beneath it, which was my dad's wedding band. It was a gold wedding band that I had given him. But there's another picture of it. So it was just really embarrassing when I went to get it cleaned, and the jeweler was trying to be kind, but basically said, I'm not sure why you want us to clean this piece of glass. Does it have sentimental value to it? And I was like, yeah, pretty sentimental. It's my wedding ring and it's a 2 carat diamond. And he's like, no, honey. And he brought out the tester. He tested it in front of me. He had me test it. I went to 3 more jewelers because I just could not believe it. And horribly embarrassing, by the way. But I went to 3 more jewelers to try to like make sure that it was fake. And again, my first reaction was I thought that my husband got scammed by Tiffany's, which is a crazy thought, but that's how much I trusted him. And it took me some time to come around to the fact that no, he bought you a fake ring, and he let you think you were carrying around a $60,000 ring. And the anxiety that comes with carrying a ring like that for me is insane, because I was always afraid of losing it. And again, I lost it one time in a parking lot. I had put it in my lap to put lotion on, and I got out and it dropped off my skirt onto the ground. And that was crazy upsetting to me because I thought I had just like ruined our life, and I thought he was gonna hate me. And when his reaction wasn't that big of a deal, we ended up finding it, but when his reaction wasn't that big of a deal, I was like, oh, he's so nice about this. But he was so nice about it because it was freaking fake. Again, I'm that unlucky girl whose man, this guy, got with this woman who also happens to be my mom. So again, my mom had told me over the phone that her and him had been sleeping together, and I at this point was just shocked because in my heart I felt like he had been with someone, but I never dreamed it was my mom. So basically he wanted to see me. I took some time to just process this. He did not know I knew. And then he ended up renting a bed and breakfast for us, which was in between the 2 towns we lived in. So I drove there to meet him, and I knew I was going to record the conversation because I've just had so many scenarios, like if you see my past videos, of just insane lies this person has told me. And then he always tries to downplay it later. So I wanted to have like the actual recording so he could never try to make this seem like it isn't as bad as it is, because that is just his forte. That's what he does. And in the next part, I'll start including some of those clips from the audio recording. I found an app on my phone that I could use that would help me record without him knowing. Also, side note, in the recording, when I finally tell him, like, I recorded you, you can never deny that this happened. He called me twisted for having recorded him, even though he had just like admitted to the worst thing you could do to, I mean, there are worse things, I'm certain, but he admitted to something pretty terrible, and he called me twisted for having the audacity to record it. So we met for lunch. First, it was pretty awkward, but we met for lunch, and then we went to the bed and breakfast, and he immediately wanted to jump in bed. And I was like, no, we have to talk. There's some important things here to discuss. I started out kind of light with some of the smaller lies because I just decided like I was going to try really hard to break up with him from this point on. And so my goal was just for my own peace of mind to try to get him to admit to all of the lies. And I didn't cover them all, but the big ones, you know, for example, one of the first lies, I did a video on that before, just before this one actually, that he bought me a fake wedding ring. And he never wanted to admit that was the truth about it. So that was like one of the first lies. Another lie was that he's not a virgin when we got married, which I was a virgin. He wasn't, but he claimed he was. And That was also a really big deal to me. I did not care that he was a virgin when we got married because I didn't expect him to be a virgin. That's a choice that I made. I was young. I was 19. He's older than me. And so I did not expect him to be a virgin, but I do expect honesty. And so the thing that bothered me about it was just that he wasn't truthful. Some of the other just like stupid little lies. One time we went down south and he, like my grandma was with us, and my grandma's like, she's like my mom, truly. She's always been there for me. And he bought her a couch, like a really nice leather couch. And then like for months and months, he kept saying there were shipping issues, that Macy's wouldn't deliver. We were in Southern California, but we lived in Northern California, and he claimed that Macy's wouldn't ship to us. All these ridiculous lies. But the truth is, like, he never bought the couch. So that was another thing I got him to admit to. Just stupid little lies that have just bugged me over the years. Another one was when we got together, he convinced me to sell my car. I actually had a nicer car than the car he was going to have me drive, but he didn't want me to have a car payment, and so he convinced me to sell it. I sold my car, which I really loved, and then I started driving his old car. He bought himself a brand new sports car, and then one day he called me up and he said, I'm gonna get you your dream car. And he's like, I gotta go down south to get it, and I'm gonna trade this one in for it. And I was like so excited, when in reality he took that car down there and just sold it, and he never came back with the car. So I effectively lost a vehicle, and my grandparents gave me like an old beater that they still had at the time. So anyways, we're just like on a roll. All these lies are trickling in. And then it's time to do the big one, right? Like, did you sleep with my mom? So first I asked him if he slept with my mom. He immediately says no. I asked him again and again and again, and he just keeps telling me no, no, no. I wouldn't do that. That's so gross. Like, yeah, you are gross, dude, because you actually did do it. Sorry, I'm like getting a little... There's a lot of anxiety still in me around all this, and that's part of why I created this account. Is I'm trying really hard to move past it, and I am also trying very hard not to ever go back to him, but he's extremely persistent in my life, and I'm also trying to cut ties with my mom, which is really hard to do all that at once. And so anyways, I apologize if I'm like a little bit nervous. So ultimately, I had talked to my mom and told her that I had planned to do this with him. And so the only good thing that she has done is she did have my back in this, and she told me, if you need me to call in and like get him to admit this, I will. And so because he kept denying it to me, I had to call her in, which sucked, because I really didn't want to have to involve her in it. And I feel like she feels like she has less blame now because she helped me get him to admit it. And like, that's just not true. Like, you still did something insanely wrong to your daughter. Like, I don't have a kid, but I did play a very big part in raising my sister. And I can tell you, like, I would never do anything to intentionally hurt that kid, like, not ever. And so I just can't imagine, like, your own daughter, that you could do this. So we get my mom on the phone, and this is kind of why I had to really heavily edit the clips from the audio that I wanted to share with you, because keep in mind, my mom is on very, very serious drugs. That's why she looks the way she does in her mugshot that I've showed you, because, you know, people that live that sort of life, it definitely changes them. And the one that starts with an M, the big one that starts with an M, that's the one that she's hooked on. And so
morphine.
In the recording, she's kind of all over the place. She's really loud and obnoxious, expletives everywhere. But she does kind of get a moment of clarity, and she says, okay. She says to him, you know, this is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done, but you need to admit this for her. And I think she believed that I was trying to stay with him, because she says in the clip, you know, that you guys are gonna have to work through this, but it'll make you guys like a better couple or whatever. But I went into this believing that I would never be with him ever again. So that's why the clips are pretty heavily edited. She eventually is starting to get off the phone because she thinks I haven't asked him yet. And so she goes to get off the phone. She goes, okay, do you need anything else? And I was like, well, yeah, you know, I've already asked him multiple times and he has said no. And that just sends her into like a rage. You'll hear it on the clip, but she says to him, okay, she's like, ask him in front of me. And so I ask him again. He denies it. I really believe he thought she was going to have his back in this, which is just insane to me. I don't actually believe my mom was into him in any way. Every transaction they had either gifts or money involved. And so, you know, keep in mind, my mom was selling her body to get the things that she wanted, which starts with an M. And so because of that, you know, first off, as soon as she told me that she had been with him, I cannot tell you how fast I ran to my OBGYN and had every single test and panel, all of it done, and repeated again at 3 months and repeated again at 6 months. Anyway, she finally says to him, like, you're gonna tell her the truth, and these aren't the exact words, you'll hear it later when you watch the clips that I'm gonna upload. But anyway, he does eventually admit to it, but only when I say, look, because she also asks him and he denies it again, and that just really upsets her. And so I finally say to him, because I know what he wants and I know what he's afraid of. He's afraid of losing me. Keep in mind, when they did get together, part of it was when we were broken up, and it's just really gross because he has been very plain with the fact that he was like using her but thinking about me, and like I was the closest thing to her. It's really gross. Like, I'm not even gonna tell you some of the most disgusting things he said to me. So I finally say to him, if we're gonna work through this, you have to admit it, and he did.
I wanted this to be so not true. I really wanted it not to be true. I thought my mom's a meth head. Maybe she's making this up for some crazy reason. She's also bipolar. Do this. Especially right now.
Yeah, I do love you more than anything in my life, okay?
You don't love me.
I do.
No, you don't. You don't do this to someone you
Honey,
love.
I just need you.
I would never do this to someone that I loved.
Honey, I need you so bad, okay? I can't be without you. You're like the air that I breathe.
Do you know Grandma knows about this?
I don't know, honey.
She is so heartbroken for me. She can't believe that that's who you are, she said. I defended him to Jim all those years and I was wrong.
Honey, I wish you knew how deeply I was hurt, okay?
No level of hurt justifies what you did. You could have given me an STD.
What it do, everyday people, man? It's your boy PJ. Today we back with another lit video. Back in the confessional. Yes, we staying lit, big dog, man. Shout out to everybody who hit the like button. Shout out to my everyday people who rock with me every day. Shout out to my player partner, Lucky Wheels and Deals. He keeps it lit. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this video right here. And let me know what you think about it in the comment section. Now, let's get into it. Now, at this point, I don't know if I should be more thankful that I wasn't born a woman, because how naive and stupid I would be when I looked at. Bring it in. Most of these women who do this dumb shit, they blame it on being young. So don't think I'm just pulling this out of thin air, okay? So being dumb and stupid at 19 and naive to everything that's going on? Or should I be more embarrassed to be a man? Because I probably would hit the mama too. I ain't gonna lie. Look, man, men do stupid shit at stupid times, you know what I'm saying? You never know. You never know. Okay? So the mama might have been over there. She was consoling him and talking to him, and her little meth head voice got to being all raspy in his ear, and somehow or another it sounded sexy, and it got him a little hard. And you know, it don't take much to get a man hard. I mean, you just a little flash of the titties, and there you go. Now, I ain't saying it's right. I'm just saying that's what men do. If you think I'm lying, look at the story. Look at countless other stories. How many stories have a girl been like, "Oh, you cheated with that"? He was like, "Yeah, shit. She was doing what you wasn't." Looking at us, you know. And you know, so there you have it. Men ain't shit. But that's the only man ain't shit y'all gonna ever get out of me, okay? Finally, ladies, y'all got it. So the ones in the back can finally be like, "Oh, PJ admitted to men ain't shit." Yep. We'll sleep with your meth head mama. Okay? We ain't shit. I feel dirty. Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with sleeping with a meth head though. You know, if she currently on meth or if she's a past meth user. You know, you'd be surprised about the women that you date, okay? Because, like, honestly, you know, shout out to them, but they all got themselves clean. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the case may be, you don't judge somebody by their past. You judge them by the fire in their crotch. Okay? They could be the worst person in the world back in the day, but if that coochie fire, a man will hit it. A man will hit it, okay? I'm just telling you. I mean, if you don't believe it, just look out there, okay? Just look out there. Just take a look around. Be like, oh. You know, it's just like this another story where the guy was in the nursing home and his sister she was big and, you know, got a bunch of kids. Guess what? Somebody was hitting him. And I guarantee you it was a man. A dirty man. It don't matter. Man could be clean, dirty. If he can get some coochie real fast for the night, he gonna hit it. Okay? Listen, man. Listen. The bros is actually mad at me for all the game I'm giving y'all. Ladies, okay? This is stuff that y'all not supposed to know. Cause you know what? I remember. I hate telling y'all my stories because y'all don't listen and y'all judge like a motherfucker, okay? Man, it was this girl hit me up. I think she got my number from her friend. I was like, what? So I hit my homeboy up. Hey, your girl, we're giving my number out to Oka. She's like, yeah, I gave it to my friend. I said, what she look like? She said she pretty. I was like, oh yeah. So this red flag number one. We sitting on the phone. I said, are you asleep? She said, no. I was like, was you just snoring on the phone? She's like, I'm not asleep. So I would hear it some more, and I'm like, what is this chick doing? Mind you, I'm in high school, right? So I'm like, man, I know this chick big than a mug. But anyway, she stay on the east side. So I'm going to pull up on her when I get out of school one day. So I hit her up when I was getting out of school. I was meeting at Edwards Park. She stayed in Garden Oaks. And if anybody from Oklahoma, they know where this story going. So she lived in Garden Oaks, and I think she stayed on Success. I think the name was the street. Anyway, down the hill. So I parked down the hill for her to come down because she was young too. So her dad she didn't want nobody seeing her getting picked up by a guy. So she walking down the hill and I see her in this puffer coat, just wilding. I was like, damn. I said, well, I'm already here. Anyway, I got some head at the park that was, to completion. And then, dropped her big ass off back down the street, never talked to her again. In fact, I blocked her number. That was when you block people number on house phones. Put *60 and put their number in, it'll call them and you hang up real quick so they'll block their number and they can't call you back. Yeah, I blocked her. Hell no. Get your big, come down there looking like the Michelin Man. Anyway, that just goes to further more truth that men will fuck anything, okay? Especially when you young and horny. You got no. You like, I gotta get the car back by 9. Let me go ahead and get this out the way. Actually, I didn't have to have the car back. My sister was gone to basic, so I had her car. And that's when I was in my senior year, getting out of school early. And went to go pick up. But yeah, crazy story, man. I tell you, it was a crazy situation. Man, I just seen it all, did it all, man. Y'all can't tell me nothing. Nothing. So girl, get over it with your long-winded ass. She took about 2.5 videos to get to the story. Then when we got to the story, it was like that. And I was like, damn, you could have just told us that he wasn't shit and then he slept with your mama. We would have been fine with that. But you gave us every detail about y'all's marriage and how he was a liar. It had nothing to do with him cheating. Because although he did lie about sleeping with her mom, he didn't actually cheat. But he did lie about sleeping with her. So you could have just... I don't know. I don't see why this took 30 minutes to get to, okay? Anyway, don't tell nobody else my story, all right? Everyday people, like, comment, subscribe. I'm holler at you later. Peace.
Day and night. For some women, it can start working in as quick as 1 week.